Hey, this is Bluerecord Studios episode 3. I'm Insa Kim.
Yunyoung Choi.
And I'm Yeon Jung. This episode will also be an extension of the pandemic of Corona-19, following the previous episode regarding the law. Today, I'm your host, and because I'm majoring in film, I will introduce you guys to some of my perceptions and ideas obtained from watching pandemic films.
They will look like this.
In the midst of global epidemic threatening the lives of millions of citizens, what causes or influences the mentality of the infected population is crucial to control and manage the urgent situation effectively. In the development of cinema, films can influence and attract public's attention and implement new ideas in visual and a musical note. A movie that resembles the coronavirus is the famous Ebola virus, which was depicted in the movie named Outbreak.
Oh, God. Playing here by 1900 hours. Well, shouldn't we at least...
Created in 1995, composed by a German director, Wolfgang Petersen.
I've never heard of or watched that movie called The Outbreak. I guess it's because the movie was out before I was born. I want to hear more.
Okay, Hollywood movies are typically related to, horror, love, effects.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Whoa. And infectious disease films are rarely manifested as chances that the tone is too heavy or critical to entertain the audience. Probably influencing Outbreak to contain a synthesized genre of star-crossed love, tense bombs, and friendly enemy. Now, this movie, Outbreak, shows the conflict between the US armies trying to construct a biological weapon and scientists or army soldiers that attempt to prevent the spread of disease. The subject of epidemiology reveals a dichotomous division between people sensible or ignorant to the state. The film centers semi-fictional disease of a contagious hemorrhagic fever where symptoms resemble the famous disease Ebola. For your information, the movie Outbreak did not use the name Ebola virus, even though it was based on Ebola. The movie is based on the imagination unique to Hollywood movies.
These people are Americans. 2,600 dead.
The scenes have actors with bloody makeup and congestive symptoms which are visually impactful and frightening. This is a horror device to amplify the pain and death of characters. Additionally, there is a scene where two angry families attempt to escape military-imposed quarantine in Cedar Creek.
In a related story, the two men who escaped from the Cedar Creek and are believed to be infected with the disease.
Met by gunfire and explosions that exhibit the dead, burned families in their vehicle.
All along, you could have stopped this outbreak before it mutated, but you didn't. And we could have stopped it right then and there, but we don't because we have to protect.
What causes the way represented is interesting. Audience are warned, wakened, cautioned of the atrocious effects of the infectious disease. Also, after the movie was screened, rumor says Ebola was actually utilized in multiple biological weapons, followed by the movie's idea.
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that part. So, how exactly was Ebola utilized in multiple biological weapons? So do you mean the disease itself was actually used as a weapon to kill or threaten people?
Once again, it's a rumor, but I heard that it was created by a civilian laboratory and centers scattered shiftly around European Russia, in which a small army of scientists and technicians developed biological weapons such as Outbreak, Ebola, and Marburg virus. I don't.
This is crazy.
I don't really know.
This sounds really crazy.
Yeah, I don't really know about the actual purpose of it, though.
Okay.
The creativity is exerting influence on the real life, providing the practical and reasonable ideas. Audiences are reminded contemplative of the current disease after rewatching the movie even now, after the outbreak of the coronavirus.
Is over. Those are the citizens, and I want you to burn those into your memory because those images.
Maybe these realistic depictions are also the reason why people gain suspicion and skeptical approaches to the government's backdoor actions. In South Korea, donations to the coronavirus are distrusted by various mediums.
코로나19로 인한 피해를 극복하기 위해 유명인들의 기부행렬이 끊이지 않고 있습니다. 그런데 이 기부금들은 다 어디로 갔을까요?
This link informs that 100 billion donations were in total collected, and the transparency, so-called clarity of the donations' appropriate usage is unclear. Although a fictional world, the film implements potential ideas and an uneasy feeling to the audience.
Stace does not have the facts. He does not know that we have a serum that is working. But don't drop the bomb just because you're following orders. That the disease is spread beyond the perimeters of this town. And if you incinerate Cedar Creek, you incinerate the serum.
Especially with thousands of deaths and cases, overflowing newspaper headings, the anxiety rises. So, can we find this good or bad? I mean, if it reminds us of our alarming future, then isn't that good? What do you guys think?
So thank you for the explanation. I'm truly shocked right now by the fact of how the government in the movie has actually attempted to use the disease to threaten people, creating it into a form of weapon. So considering how I'm one of the people going through the outbreak of the disease, the strategy is something severely brutal and immoral, even to think about it. And the issue you have mentioned about the need for clarity and where the donations for COVID-19 is, so for the people who donate their money, I agree that they would want to know where it is used, which can eventually incentivize them to donate even more.
Yeah.
So I'm actually happy to hear the government is working on the system to let all the info visible.
Yeah, I totally relate to Young's comments. Even though knowing that it is a rumor, it is giving me goosebumps. That the films may be used as a weaponry.
Yeah.
It's quite clear that it's quite clear that racism and reproach to Asian countries is also unintentionally depicted in the movie Outbreak. In real life, we can clearly see that even the US President Donald Trump named the coronavirus as the Chinese virus.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus?
Because it comes from China.
Racist.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China.
Spontaneously blaming them for the initial outbreak. As you can see in this clip, President Trump, as a reasonable and natural idea, have treated the outbreak. Even Drew, the reporter, says that Asian American would be placed in terrible conflict and discrimination from these comments.
And do you think using the term Chinese virus, that puts Asian Americans at risk, that people might target them?
No, not at all. I think they probably would agree with it 100%. It comes from China.
He shook his head. As the leader of a powerful country, the words can only be seen as irresponsible. Even when the US president makes such racist comments, how much pressure would there be in, normal Asian inhabitants?
Yes.
Surprisingly, Koreans on social media too agree with Trump's statements of blaming Chinese that are not cognizant that it is a harm to themselves and Asians as a whole as well. The outbreak, which is created by the US, distinguishes racist condemnation of Asia also, specifically Korea. In the film, Koreans are the leading figures that initially boosted the disease with monkeys.
Number at the center, the area code is 404 and it's 55596. If you see this monkey, do not...
Right. Palisade.
Seeing that the host is also an animal, like the bat caused by Chinese, Ebola has a similar situation as the current coronavirus. Tired of the conventional stupidity that Korean or Asian characters are described as, the movie has negative perceptions by South Korea when it was screened. Now that I look at it, it simply just evidences that perception of American cinema towards Asians, and we to bear as economically weak and reliant countries in the late 19th. Profoundly, what does the movie informs us? It may harm us, scare us, maybe too unrealistic, or probably a reflective movie. Outbreak delineates the situation we lived in, and from the perspective of present society, how should we make an effort by acquiring perhaps the perception we gain from the movie? So this is the end for our episode 3. Hope you liked it. Did you guys like it?
Yes, it was very interesting to hear about what you needed to talk about the film called The Outbreak.
I really enjoyed the film. How did you enjoy it, Audrey?
Well, your explanation?
Yes.
Well, I certainly think that the films have a huge impact in these kind of situations, the disease situations.
Yeah, but like one doubt is that to me it sounded a bit too unrealistic. That's why I felt too overwhelmed by the fact I can't really get rid of the thought of government using the disease as a weapon.
Yeah.
But thank you very much. That was really insightful.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it.